Hey folks, Jonathan here. Out messing around with the old International truck. I'm going to try to do a start on it in the first start. And it's my understanding, I guess it hadn't been started since around 2001, 2002, so about 15 years. Anyway, I wanted to show you a couple things. It's a B-160 truck, as you can see. It's got 20-inch wheels on it. Ton and a half, 2 ton, whatever you want to call it. 2-speed rear end. This was an A-160, which was also a 2-ton, but it was 4-wheel drive, and that's a 57 model. I had thought that that was a 60, and I did the video as a 60. That is actually a 61 model. And what I done, I actually had a friend of mine run the numbers for me and got the information back for the original owner, or the owner that it's actually registered to. And I had to go through a little bit of searching because it was in a business name, and there was 3 businesses that had closed down, or 2 had closed down, and another one had been open, but it was all the same company, same people. And I actually got a hold of them, and it looks like I'm going to be able to get an original title or get an MBR4 form filled out. And so we may be lucky on this one. We'll see how it goes. I've got a couple of them in limbo right now waiting on paperwork. So you know, sometimes paperwork, well, I'm not going to say sometimes, every time it seems like lately the paperwork's worse than the actual work to get it. And you know, paperwork sometimes can be a real pain. But anyway, you know, there's not much difference in them trucks. The fenders are made a little bit different, but the windshield, the cab, and everything's all the same, and doors look to be the same. But we're going to try to get it started. It looks a lot bigger when it's on that frame, of course, than what it does when it's on a half-ton frame. But and a lot of you may not know, this is the first one-day rat rod build we done. And you know, it's a 57 International truck. It's a somewhere the 50s model Ford bed, and the frame is a 91 Chevrolet. And it's got a 350, 700 R4, power steering, power brakes, and this is sort of my daily driver. This is the truck I drive all the time. So, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and see if we can get it started. I got jumper cables on. I'm going to go ahead and fire the International up and let it charge there a little bit. And that battery is in, it's dated 03, so I'm not sure that it's going to probably not take any kind of a charge, but we'll see what happens here. And, anyway, we'll see what happens. Let it sit there a little bit while I mess with it. I don't have a key for it. I'll show you. I pulled the ignition switch out. You know, it's no problem, put ignition switch in it, but just want to go to the battery to start the ST. It'll be marked on the back here, and we'll just cross that long enough, just see if it turns over, and then we can go from there. And you know, these things are labeled, so they're not hard to mess with. Or we could drill it out and use a screwdriver, because we're going to replace it anyway, but we'll decide. But I'll show you more. Okay, let me go in here and see if I can find some wires to cross. Okay, she's rolling over. I'm going to pull the cap off and check the points out and see what they look like. Okay folks, what I've done is I've made me a little wire here. Hope you can see that. And we are going to plug this into power, and that way we'll have power. And then this one here will get plugged into our run, which will be the power, you know, that fires the points. And then we'll use this wire just to touch off to be able to crank it over. And this will be our quick way doing it. I don't want to cut no wires because I want to try to keep everything together. You know, the harness don't look to be in bad shape in this thing. So anyway, let me get this hooked up here. Okay, we got our wires hooked up. I actually got power coming to one. There was a choice of 2 there on the ignition side, so we got them running to both, but we'll play at the points and see if we can figure out which one. I've actually got power running to it now. Oh, we got a bad coil wire too. Broke off inside. We'll have to hunt one up. Yeah, somebody's evidently messed with that. Alright. This is a GM distributor. I should be able to wiggle the points here a little bit with a screwdriver and see if we're going to need spark down here or not. Maybe short them. Hard to get to one with that cap on. Yeah, I'm not seeing any kind of spark. Alright, let's swap wires and see if it's the other wire in there. Alright, got a little spark now, so we know that I got the right wire. I just had to make sure I hook the right one up every time. I'm going to pull them points out because they are dirty. So we'll get them out, and then oh, we can see the smoke coming off the ballast resistor, so we know that's working. Got a lot of oil and stuff on it, so let's go ahead and undo our wire here. So we want to keep it down this way. We know it's the small green one. So what we've got now is we've got power coming in. We've got power coming in. So I put power on this. What we can do is use this one to plug into here, which goes to our points. Well, it actually goes to the positive side of our coil, but you understand what I'm saying. And then we got this white one right here that when we touch this on it, the our engine cranks over. So that's enough right there to hot wire it to make it run. Okay, one of the advantages of running the GM points compared to the other points, of course, your condenser is made to your points, which makes it pretty easy. These ones, of course, you can see need cleaned really bad. I don't know if the camera picks it up or not, but one of the advantages is you don't have to take the screws all the way out. You can see they're slotted here and it's slotted on this end. You can actually just put them in and flip them around. And also with the Allen head, you come through this window here on the side of the distributor and you can set your dwell. You know, basically adjust your points from the outside. And we'll get these cleaned up and get them back on. Okay, I don't know if you could see it or not, but I could hear it. It's firing. So we'll get the cap button back up there and on it, and should be able to pour a little gas in it, maybe see if it'll do something here. I'm about to get my truck started back up. That battery, of course, is about dead. So, well, that one probably is completely dead, but anyway, worst comes worst, we'll go hunt up a battery. All right. Okay, folks, I was going to put the generator back on, and the belt seemed to be too long, and it was the belt that was in there, so I'm sure it's right. It's got a spring-loaded idler, which you don't see too often on the old stuff, or that I know of anyway, but that tells you that's nothing new. But I noticed that there was no blades for cooling the generator, and then of course I noticed some washers. So I think what's happened is we've got a lot smaller pulley on this thing than what it had originally, because he was trying to use it for something different. So we're not going to be able to hook the fan up right yet. I noticed a couple other things. Somebody has welded some tubes in for the one for the fill. You know, you got a fill here, but somebody actually welded two in the valve cover, and it don't make any sense unless this thing's got a lot of blow by and they was trying to do something about it. It does have a PVC valve on it. And I don't know, it's kind of a weird why they would do that. I think what I'm going to do, I really need to go get a battery But we're gonna go ahead just for the heck of it. I'm gonna put a little bit of gas in the carburetor. We're just gonna crank it, see if it'll crank over enough to do something. Maybe make a little noise or something. Pour some in out of the backside of this can. We'll see what happens. No, she's turning awful slow. I think I'll get a battery in there. See what we can do. Okay, folks, we've got a good battery in it. We're gonna pour a little gas in it again and try it again. All right, well, she kicked over, and I can hear a lot of lifters tapping in there, but that don't mean it won't clear up. But we're gonna try to fire it up with some gas to the carburetor. I hope the carburetor's not too bad, but I didn't even see if it was stuck or not. I think maybe I moved it. Ooh, well, the throttle's unhooked on it for some reason. And she was sitting there wide open. That wasn't good. So anyway, we'll get that hooked back up and get the cobwebs out of there. Let me see. We don't want to run it long because we don't want it to heat. And I did check the oil. And for those of you that think so, I'm not an idiot. So just because I pull it out and show somebody and stick it back in there doesn't mean I hadn't already wiped it off and checked it before, because I usually do that usually before I even buy the vehicle. So I've had a couple people say, you know, well, you just pulled it out and looked at it and put it back in, but you know, I've looked at it long before that. No, I'm not going to change the oil on it before I start it. And you know, the oil don't look bad. It don't have any water in it. It's not contaminated. You know, it's for lubrication. It's going to do the same things it done 15 years ago, I promise. So we're going to get something hooked on this throttle, and we're going to get some fuel to it so we know it'll kick over and try to start. So we'll go from there and see how bad this thing's going to sound. Like I said, I did hear some lifters for sure. Now these engines don't have a timing chain. They're gear-to-gear drive, and so you know, a lot of times you'll hear a whine from that all the time. But you know, I'm assuming and hoping that, and I'm thinking this thing's got hydraulic lifters. I don't think it's got solid, but it's been a while since I'd messed with International too, quite a few years. So, but well, International gas motor, let's put it that way. But if it's got hydraulic lifters, they should pump up. Maybe she'll quieten down. But we'll go ahead and get some fuel to it where we can try to hopefully get it started enough with the carburetor. I mean, it don't look dirty down inside and stuff. Air cleaner was on it. Depends on that fuel. I mean, who knows? We'll see. And another thing too, you know, somebody actually cared about this truck at one time, because when you see this around the wheels, it was on the other wheel too, and you can see this wire right here. That tells me that somebody had a tarp on this thing and they had it tied down, and they was trying to protect it from the weather. You know, one window's missing, one window won't go up. So you know, somebody did have it covered at one time. It's a shame that it wasn't for probably the last 6 or 7 years for sure that I know where it wasn't covered. So anyway, all right, we'll see if we can get it started. Okay folks, what I done was take off this line. I didn't want to cut this line, so I went and just took it off. I added another line to it, just an old 5/16 fuel line that well, that was actually out of a transmission. But anyway, I've done that because I don't want to cut the original line. That way we can always hook it back up. Hopefully we won't get any fuel out of it. I haven't unhooked the fuel pump yet. There's a hole in the tank, so we're just hoping there's nothing in it. It hasn't pumped anything yet, but I need to get the throttle hooked up somehow. I don't know why it was unhooked. Oh, it's squirting fuel too. So the accelerator pump's working, so it should start up and run. Let's see if I can get this back on. I don't know why it was unhooked, but I appreciate whoever unhooking it. Put the clip back on there. It wasn't missing, so alright. This thing should fire up and run now, for sure. Give her a try. Sure she hasn't flooded. Of course, none of our gauges are on. Let's see if she moves. Oh. Love that mileage. There you can see it. Showing 411 miles. All right. Don't run bad. I can still hear some lifters, but I need to find out if them are, they might be solid. Good chance they're solid. But we'll do more on this one later. But it will run. All right, appreciate everybody watching. Till next time, bye. My wife's feeding her honeybees.